So back with another video, and some of you guys know, eye surgery went pretty well. The only thing I've noticed is this eye just doesn't seem to be quite as open as the other eye at times, and I hope that's just some swelling. But other than that, seemed to go pretty well. It was tough looking at anything with light for 4 or 5 days. Anyway, I'm going to get back on the regular video schedule here. We've had a lot going on. I had to get the wife a new washer and dryer. And then I had to, I had a kind of a unique situation with my neighbor. He's 84, 85 years old, went in the hospital with a mild stroke. And when he came out, he could not remember the combination to his safe. And he tried everything in the world to get somebody to help him. The hardware store where we bought the safe, they really wouldn't do anything to help him. And he even had the police come to see if there was something they could do. And so he came over and asked me, and I said, the only thing we can do is break into it. And so we brought it over to the shop on a two-wheeler and took an air hammer to it. I'll throw a quick video here. So I just got done cracking this open for a neighbor. The old boy's 84 years old, and he had went into the hospital with a mild stroke. And when he came out, he couldn't remember the combination to his safe. And he had all his money in there and life insurance policies and all that. And he called the hardware store where he bought it, and they wouldn't help him. So the only thing we could do was break into it. And man, he had the largest wad of cash I've ever seen personally in my life, other than on video or something, in there, along with a lot of other stuff. And I didn't record it out of respect for him while we were breaking it. But yeah, I guess you can add that to my resume now, safe cracker. I used the old trusty air hammer. So you can add safe cracker to my list of resumes. I didn't video the actual process of breaking in the safe out of respect for the dude. But that was the most money I've ever seen in one spot in real life like that, just out in the open. Of course, I've been at the bank and like transfers, seen that sort of thing, but just somebody having in their hand, it was probably $250,000, $300,000 he had in there. Along with a bunch of other important stuff. But anyway, got it open for him and walked him back up to the house. And then some of you may know Tim Pool. Actually, somebody broke into Tim Pool's house. Now, some of you may or may not know Tim has the Cast Castle, where the Tim Cast IRL show is put on every day, is in a mansion in West Virginia out in the country. It's a great big country style home that's just, it's a mansion, and there are several studios in there, and that's where they have they've converted a lot of the bedrooms into studios, and that's where they have the Timcast IRL and Pop Culture Crisis channel and a couple of others, and that's where Adam Crigler's show started, was in one of those studios. And then Tim actually owns a house a few miles away across the state line into West Virginia or Maryland. And somebody must have been watching him, because he leaves for the Cast Castle about the same time every day. Tim is one of those guys. He's a lot like me. He gets up the same time every day, goes to bed the same time every night. You could probably set your watch to when he ties his shoes. It's just the same routine every morning. And somebody was probably familiar with what time he leaves for work. And so they thought they were safe to break in his house right after he left for work. Only problem was there was another employee staying there at the time. And they actually broke the kitchen window, came into the kitchen, and were standing in the kitchen when they were confronted by the other employee that lives there, and actually they exchanged gunfire. And the dudes, one of them dropped a wallet on their way out. And what they suspect was it was either a wallet they stole or they were just using it as confusing bait. In other words, make people think it was this other person that broke in. But at any rate, you got to wonder. And, just like many of Ryan Upchurch has got a handful of fans that'll go out and try to do harm to people on their behalf. Looks like, Adam Crigler may have a crack squad of his own with the death threats and the swatting and the all that crap, right? So it was a pretty frightening event, to say the least. That combined with this coordinated smear campaign from your typical drama queens, and you wonder how genuine that is. Somebody pay them to do that, or you got to ask yourself why, after almost a year, would both of them decide to? And it's so petty, accusing him of a friends with benefits relationship. Oh, how terrible. He's single, right? And accusing him of yelling at an employee. Well, sometimes bosses have to do that. It's not that big a deal. And you would think that, he drowned a truckload of kittens or something. I mean, you people get, the selective moral outrage is laughable. But yeah, I mean, big deal. And even going as far as with Lydia, you have to ask yourself, her husband was living in Europe at the time, right? They hadn't seen each other in a year, and the marriage was dissolved pretty much. I mean, they hadn't done anything legally to get a divorce, but they weren't married to each other anymore, and we don't know what he was doing. He may have been seeing somebody too. So for everybody to act like Lydia was doing something horrible, that's just ridiculous. There's probably a lot of women that would jump at the chance of having a relationship with Tim Pool. Secondly, she was estranged. Her and her husband were estranged from each other. The marriage was dissolving. They both knew that. And so, a friends with benefit relationship is not that horrible. And frankly, it just wasn't any of Adam's business. And I just want you guys to think for a minute and understand that if Tim was not generous and leaving Adam live there rent free, Adam wouldn't have known any of this. And to hear his level of disdain for Lydia, that goes beyond what's normal in my book. You don't have that much animosity for a coworker that's never really done anything to you, unless there's some level of jealousy going on, and that's what we're looking at. Level, and then we find out from other people that were living there or working there at or around the same time that have come out and say that Adam was the little washwoman. He was the gossiper, and anytime you wanted to gossip or trash mouth a coworker, you went over to Adam's room, and that's where all the gossiping happened. And for him to trash mouth Lydia to new employees who had never had a chance to meet her themselves just goes to show that it was time for him to go. And Tim should have just cut him loose completely. I think if Tim could go back and do something different, that would be it. Instead of just taking Adam off the live show after Adam gave him an ultimatum, her or me, He should have just walked him out and made him leave. Letting him stay there was a big mistake because all he did was run around gossiping and trash mouthing and just causing trouble. And even these videos he's making today, trash mouthing Tim today, are just ridiculously petty. And I won't even get into the ridiculous sister again. And then, you know, the other story that is really mind blowing is this girl, you know, the missing girl, the Strand. Let me see if I can pull that up. So this Athena Strand, what an incredible turn of events. And I've been waiting and waiting to see your typical players in the true crime community that are so quick to jump to conclusions, such as Zav Girl and the Glare and many others. All of them were accusing the stepmother. And now it comes to find out it was just a contract FedEx driver. So this guy wasn't actually an employee for FedEx. He was like a subcontractor hired by FedEx to deliver packages. And what's even more concerning is he was an Uber driver before that. And the article says, you know, a FedEx driver confessed to kidnapping and killing a 7-year-old girl, according to police. Tanner Horner, he's 31, Lake Worth, Texas. He was arrested on Friday in connection with the death of Athena Strand, a 7-year-old. Police said at the press conference Horner faces charges of aggravated kidnapping and capital murder, and his bond is set to a total of $1.5 million. She was kidnapped from her driveway on the Wednesday she went missing, police said, and it reported that he was delivering packages to the house, and when he kidnapped her, she had gotten off the bus shortly before that, and the sheriff's department said that he kidnapped her, and she was probably deceased within an hour of that. And the stepmother reported her missing around 6 o'clock. And, of course, all the true crime people were out here accusing the stepmother. Thank goodness Ryan Upchurch didn't automatically decide to accuse another YouTuber of doing it. But anyway, turns out it was just a random, knee-jerk kidnapping from a very troubled young man that was contracted to deliver packages for FedEx. He had no connection to the family. It was an impulse thing, and that's him. You know, he confessed, and in his confession, he said it was an impulse. So anyway, I just wanted to catch up with everybody a little bit, and we're going to get back. And another thing I want to do is I think I want to do a 5,000 subscriber giveaway. And so what I had went to an auction a while back, and I bought a bunch of studio equipment at an auction. And in that were some of these really cool boards that are great to use for podcasting. And that is these Behringers. That's these toys right here. And what makes these so great is they're one of the few small mixers that are relatively inexpensive that come with really good microphone preamps. They have the 48 volt power for non-condenser mics, and they have a built-in compressor and de-easer gate and effects. And that's just hard to find on most inexpensive mixers. So that Behringer just makes a really good machine. It has a USB interface, And you can use the USB interface directly, but a lot of people hook these into a Focusrite, which is another USB interface. And I think what I want to do is put together a giveaway package of a decent microphone, the mixer, and a Focusrite USB interface for somebody, and a 1080p webcam. So you'll get the whole shooting match: webcam, the mixer, the Focusrite, and you'll be able to have a really good sounding podcast and good looking podcast right out of the gate. Focusrites aren't cheap either. Let me grab one. So I'm going to include a Focusrite, and these are amazing. I've used these on multiple PCs. What's really cool is you can do your two inputs. So you take the two main outputs from your mixing board, the left and the right, put them into this, puts it straight into the computer, and then you can send your computer speakers straight out the back. Or you can use a set of powered studio monitors, which then it sounds really good to listen to music and that kind of stuff. And even if you like to do your own recording, or you want to play around with trying to sing or anything, the Focusrite comes with really cool editing software for audio. So I'm going to put together a package, and this is going to be a brand new board. It's a brand new board, new Focusrite, decent microphone, and a 1080p webcam for 5,000 subscribers. You guys tell me what you think about that. And I'll probably do a live tonight. Hope to catch up with you guys later. Have a good afternoon.